there's a lot of secrets, right? We can all do many different things in our practice. And let's face it, in an hour, there's no way to cover everything possible. But I picked kind of what I thought was some of the, I think some of the most entertaining or best ones that I have heard from other people made, kind of the biggest impact on their practice. And that's how I chose these. So what are those? Well, first we got to think a little bit about where we've been and where we're going. And so if you think about when you graduated, some of you, it may have been just recently, some of you may be, just getting ready to graduate. And some of you have been out for a while. Myself, I've been out for, like 28 years, and time flies. And there's a lot of things you realize as you go through your career. And there's things that you wish someone would have showed you in dental school or, out of dental school, so that you didn't have to jump over the same hurdles or the same potholes that everyone else jumps through. So with that being said, you can think about the feeling you have when you graduate. It's like, oh my gosh, finally I'm done. That 3 or 4 years of just, intense training and learning. And, I'm finally a dentist and I get to go out and make some money and, everything's going to be great. And then, you get out for a little while and you realize, is it still that same feeling? Or do you feel like maybe, things are a little different than what you were expecting? Maybe we're a little delusional as far as coming out of dental school and thinking how much that we knew everything in dentistry and that we could instantly make money and that, everything's going to be wonderful. And, I think a lot of us felt that way, whether you want to agree or not, but just talking to colleagues and whatnot, I think many of us had the same feelings. So there's some technology that obviously has made life easy for all of us. There's some skill sets that have made things easy for us. And, let's face it, dental school, their job is to train you on the basics of dentistry so you can pass an exam, not to practice in the real world, right? Because otherwise they'd be treating you with all kinds of amazing technology and teaching you various types of procedures that you learn after you get out of school. You go take a bunch of CE programs. It's all about, how much can I learn? I want to start learning how to do Invisalign, and I want to learn how to do all-on-4 implants, and I want to do veneers and, ceramic bonded restorations. You just start all these, you have this list of things you want to do, right? And so dental school, they gave you a vision. They said, hey, in the next 3 to 4 years, if you follow our protocol and passed all these tests and, jump over all these hurdles, you can graduate. But then you also have to pass your, national and state exams. And if you do all this, you could be a business owner, or you can work for someone else, whatever you'd like to do. And then, once you get into dental school, they say, okay, well, if you do all these things and you follow our schedule, they set it up for you. And they basically, created what I would call a roadmap for graduation. If you do these things, you're good. But then you get out of school and, time starts to click by and you kind of go, well, what do I do? Because no one's telling me what to do anymore. I don't have someone saying, if you do this at 8 o'clock in the morning and this at 3 o'clock, and by the end of a month or a year, you'll be at this next level. No one's telling you that anymore. So where do you get your drive? Where do you get your motivation? Who's mentoring you? Is it just, continuing to take more CE on dentistry? Or do you find that, hey, I really have to be productive. I got to spend more time in that dental chair, seeing more patients, making more money. Because I get it that everyone's got, debts and bills and things when they come out of school. And, many of us, once we get out of school, we start to buy other things. And sometimes we buy things before we have the money, right? And some of you may relate to this. So we sit here behind the chair every day after dental school, and we start to go, okay, well, what do I want to do next? Or do we even ponder what's next? Do we just treat patients every day hoping that things are going to continue to change? Or, hey, I heard my buddy took a CE course, and so I'm going to go take that and see if that makes me more successful. And so I think a lot of times in dentistry, we kind of hunt and poke, is what I call it. We're looking for things. We're going, well, I hope if I do this, I'll become more successful. Or if I go take that program, I'll become more successful. Or if I get certain accreditations or masterships, I'll become more successful. And I think what we realize with time is that this doesn't happen that easily, and that success comes with time. And so in my mind, one of the biggest secrets is, sorry, I bounced forward by accident. One of the biggest secrets is determining where you want to go. What is the goal? Because I think a lot of times as dentists, we just show up every morning and go, well, I hope today's a better day. I hope I have some patients that need some big expensive treatment. And depending on who comes in each day and each month, and depending on what they need done or what we diagnose, and what they need and what we diagnose are two different things. And so if you look at these, you go, okay, well, what if they need big procedures, but they don't move forward? So if someone's not moving forward and you are diagnosing, then that's another problem. And so you start to look at this and go, well, gee, so I'm at the mercy of basically hoping people show up and hoping they move forward. And so I hear people all the time saying, I hope, I wish. And those are words that honestly, I try to remove from vocabulary, because in my mind, you don't want to hope and wish. You want to make sure you have a game plan for success. When someone walks through that door, you already have the plans. You've memorized them. You know what you're going to do. You're going to talk to them a certain way. You're going to make it such that they want to move forward. Okay. And some of you may say, well, it's not that easy. I'm telling you, it can be. Okay. But a lot of times we create our own barriers. We create our own limitations. We prejudge people sometimes when we shouldn't be. And so where am I going with all this? Well, after graduating, we didn't have training on all these things. And I don't read slides verbatim, but you can read over there. There's a lot of stuff they never trained us on. And so depending on when you got out, you're either having to learn all these things, or if you've been out a while, you go, okay, I've got most of them down. And some of us have been out even longer, go, well, yeah, I got like 90% pretty solid, but man, there's still some systems in my business that need to be modified. Okay. And I think all of us would agree that, hey, if you're sitting behind the chair 99% of the time, it's tough to go and change systems and train and build things and create goals. And so it's only really after we've graduated where we've seen like, hey, they gave me one thing. I thought that's all I needed to be successful. And then I get out and realize, oh, I'm unprepared. I really barely know anything. And you go, okay, well, now starts the work. I've got to figure out where I'm going to go. Do I get contracted with insurance companies? Do I go fee for service? Do I work harder and see more patients? Do I do bigger treatments and see less patients? What's my overhead going to be at that point? How much am I writing off each month? You start to look at these things. You go, man, this is overwhelming. And to some of us, it becomes quite frustrating. At some point in your career, you'll probably have some level of frustration or burnout because of all these things. You have a lot on your back. Now, if you're an associate, obviously, you don't have to deal with a lot of these things yet. If you're going to own, you'll eventually get to see all this. And so you don't realize, again, that next hurdle of when you own something is different than when you work for somebody. So what most dentists tend to do, in my mind, is they do everything for everyone. Okay, they take more dental courses on materials and techniques, they maybe buy some technology or continue to buy more and more technology. And they're trying to see more and more patients and hope each month that the right patient comes in that makes them more and more successful. Does that sound like you? If it does, you're the same as many people out there. I would say it's the majority of people out there. Most people don't have a game plan of how they're going to be successful each month, each year, each day. And like I said, with time, that becomes frustrating. And so for any of us, if we stay in this place too long, we start to get burnout. And as individuals typically working alone as solo practitioners, it's tough. It can be very frustrating and lonely. I hear this quite often too. Solo practitioners, they can have a lot of frustration on a daily basis. Why is that? Well, let's think about it. Every month we have uncertainty. Don't know who's coming in. Don't know how many new patients we'll get. Don't know how many patients are going to leave. Don't know if our staff's going to stay or leave, right? Don't know how much I'm going to make based on who walks through the door. So you got to ask yourself, what do you want? What do you want? What's your dream? What would be the ideal situation? So what's stopping us? If you know the dream, you know what you want, what stops us? Why do we tell ourselves, oh, it can't be done? Or why do we tell other people it can't be done? As soon as you start to learn these things, life becomes substantially easier, and so does the business. So think about working in your business. You've got difficult patients, you got employee issues, you have financial concerns about the amount of money each month. Maybe you get a negative review from a patient, and now you're upset for the better part of a day, and that can ruin you. Hey, it's happened to me too. And then you start going, okay, what about the insurance and all the issues they have with lower reimbursements every year? And you start going, man, this is just getting worse and worse. And some of you may say, well, I found a way around all this. And that's great, because that's where we're going, because there's secrets to all of these. And so all of these frustrations I'm talking about leads us to stress in the office with employees, stress at home, stress maybe in our health and our diet. And that's not good for us. We want to be on the planet as long as possible. And so you go, okay, well, how can I eliminate all these things? And so what I want to tell you is any of these can be eliminated. It's just a matter of how you look at them. So every one of these problems or frustrations, in my mind, is something that can show you a better way to do things if you choose to look at it this way. So frustrations are important in my mind. You need them. Every day we have frustrations and problems, whether it's debt, low new patients, not having enough for retirement, needing more, more employees. A lot of that's happening right now during COVID. So be honest with yourself. Think about it. What is the one thing right now that's just pissing you off in your practice? The biggest frustration you have? Think about it for a minute. So again, what I hear most is that they're tired. Dentists are overwhelmed. They can't see enough patients. They got to keep seeing more and more to try and be profitable. Does that sound like you? So you work too hard for your money in my mind. Insurance keeps getting lower each year. Patients assume insurance covers everything. They don't understand the game. And so we keep plugging along with it. Again, does this resonate? The problem is the insurance company. And yet no one's talking about it. No one's discussing with the patients. No one's putting it out on YouTube. No one's putting it on social media. That's the big problem. But people don't usually talk about it. So look at your business model, your systems. Are they running at 100, 110%? Typically, no, because we're still dealing with all the insurance problems, right? And unfortunately for many dentists retire in their 70s. Average retirement for a dentist is to have 1.5 to 2.5 million in the bank. That's not a lot. So think about things. There's a lot of questions. What should you focus on to be more successful? Most dentists are going to think of one thing. And I can tell you most of them are going to be wrong. So think about it. What is the one thing that you need to work on to be more successful? It's hard. There's a lot of things out there, but there's one thing that I guarantee each one of you that's listening has. It says, well, if I can do this, I can be more successful. So out of all your CE training over the past 2 years during COVID, how much of it was on marketing, psychology, communication, and business? What was the percentage on that? And then what was the percentage on more technology, more materials, and more procedures? I'm guessing the majority of your time was on technique, materials, and various technology, right? And again, I'm sure there's exceptions, but that's the majority. That's how we think as dentists typically. And I'm telling you, it's wrong. Those three things are not going to help you be successful because you're focusing on one thing. You're focusing on one thing. You may say, no, I'm focusing on technology, materials. And this. No, you're focusing on one thing. You're focusing on how to deliver. You're learning how to deliver a product. And that's great. We need to focus on that at times, right? But we shouldn't put all of our emphasis on it. Because if you're learning how to deliver, you're missing out on two other things. And those are what are going to keep you from being successful. And so you think about, okay, well, I buy technology too. So if I go buy the latest technology, I can be more successful. Patients out there, they want, same day dentistry. They want printed things. They want scanners. They're cool tools. They really are. But unless you've got a huge return on investment, some of these may not be truly helping you. And you're focusing on all these, and to some extent, maybe you're hoping someone comes in and needs same-day dentistry or needs to use one of the products you purchased. But I can tell you, some people out there don't have all these products and are crushing it. But they look at things differently. And I'm not saying not to have these, right? Don't take it that way. I'm just saying there's more to it than just looking at this, right? None of these are typically going to attract new customers. Now you may say, okay, well, same day dentistry. Yeah, you might get a couple, but is that the lion's share? No, it's a very small niche, right? None of these are going to convert patients to move forward just because you have a certain product. Half the time, they don't even know what these things are and probably could care less. They just want it to feel good and be inexpensive and be out the door, right? So in my mind, the insanity is doing the same thing over and over. So every day we're hoping for success. We're trying to learn more procedures. We're watching more stuff on social media, wasting precious hours of our time, liking, clicking things. Think of how many hours you waste each week watching social media, and where does that get you? Doing things over and over and hoping for a better result, and yet it never comes. So taking CE to deliver. I hope you recognize that this is one secret, that if you learn to not put all your eggs in this one basket, you can be more successful. So instead of waiting for patients to come to you where you get to deliver, think of it as what I call a trifecta. The first thing in business, because you are a business owner, or you will be if you're not already, first thing is you have to attract the right people. That's the biggest secret. If you can attract people, very easy to become successful. You already know how to deliver. You may not be the best guy out there. Who cares? You don't have to be. You may not have all the technology. You don't have to. You just need to get people in the door. Because let's face it, when someone says, hey, who's your dentist? Everyone always says back, oh, I have the best dentist. Well, why is he the best? He or she? Because he's so nice and the staff is great, right? That's the first thing they say. They don't say, oh, he does the best dentistry. I know what his margins are like. I know he does biomimetic dentistry. They don't know anything. So again, you're putting all your time and effort into delivery. And the successful people are looking at, I need to attract the right people and lots of people. And once they get into the office, I've got to be really good at talking to them and getting them to move forward. And I'm not talking about selling something that someone doesn't need. I'm not talking about diagnosing someone that there's nothing there, right? Because we've all seen that out there. I'm saying someone truly needs something and you're getting them to understand and move forward. That's getting someone to convert, okay? Then, and only then, if you've attracted and converted people, then you finally get to deliver. But if you're putting all your emphasis and time on that delivery and not on anything else in business, your business will work, it'll do okay, but you could never truly be extremely successful, right? Now, if you look at any business out there, businesses will market, and when they market someone, they then have to convert them to make a purchase. You're no different. Yes, you're a dentist, you're offering medical services, you're offering the emotional health of being happy and healthy and out of pain, right? You're selling something. Now you may say, well, I don't sell. I'm not saying you sell something they don't need. I'm saying you're selling a service. People come to you for that reason, okay? So instead of waiting for patients to find you, there's technology nowadays that's available that allows you to get in front of patients. Patients can find you very easily. It's easier than ever. Instead of waiting for people to find you or hoping people find you or looking in a yellow page or newspaper or something, it's very easy to get people to find you nowadays if you're doing the right thing. So I want you to think again for a minute. Again, this is really a discussion that you should be thinking. Consider it kind of like a workshop. You should be coming up with some answers. This is not, I just sit here and listen and I'll do, something maybe on Monday, or maybe I won't do anything at all. Think of how many times you leave a CE program, you don't change anything, or it goes in one ear and is there for a day or a week and then it's gone. I'm truly sharing some things with you that could change your life. And so if you think for a moment, what are the 3 biggest problems in your dental practice? Name 3. We said 1 earlier, but what are 3? The 3 things you hate the most, can't stand, what are they? The 3 things you wish or hope would change. Write them down. Get a piece of paper, write on your cell phone, do whatever you have to, write them down. Because I'm telling you, once you remove those 3 things, you go, oh, life is so much better. And then you go, you know what? I got 2 or 3 new things. Now, if I can eliminate those, life would be even better. And I'm telling you, if you eliminate these, life becomes a lot of fun. And I've been teaching people these kind of things for a few years now. And it's amazing to watch people transform. You can do anything you want. You truly can. When you say you can't, that's you lying to yourself. You can truly do anything, right? So stop doing the things you hate is the first secret. I mean, there was a lot of good little tips in there already, but the first thing I'll tell you, stop doing the things you hate. Because instantly it changes your mindset, it changes your aura, changes how you're interacting with people. It's like, oh gosh, I gotta do that again. I hate those things. Stop doing them. And you say, well, I gotta do them because for me to be profitable, I gotta do this, that, and the next thing. No, you don't. That's a story you're telling yourself. And so there's been research done, no matter what business you're in, doesn't matter if you're a dentist or selling a widget, the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, has been proven time and time again. It's a rule of economics. The rule states that 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results, and 20% of your patients will account for 80% of your production. 20% of your services will count for 80% of what you do, and so on. I've seen it in many instances. The numbers are closer to 90-10 in many offices. Okay. So when you're telling yourself, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, maybe you can. And until you try, you might not realize it. And so again, 20% of your patients create 80% of your income. Think of all the great patients that come to you. The ones that come on a regular basis, you barely even have to let them know it's time again for their appointment, or they remember it on their own. They pay you, when it's time to pay, whether it's time of service or whether you collect a check later, however. When you tell them that to move forward with treatment, they do. Those kind of patients, those are who you want. And you say, no, I got to treat everybody. When you treat everybody, you have more frustrations and problems. Your employees have to do more work on the people that typically don't pay and create issues. And so that brings down morale and problems as well. So if you want to make more money and have more freedom, first thing you got to do is learn that simple tip. And if you implement that, you'd be amazed how things change. Okay. You want to have more free time, more freedom, more money? This is part of it. So learning what each of these 20% are takes a little time. You got to dive deep into the numbers, into the patients, and start to figure out what it is you truly want to do and what makes you the most successful, right? And then start to remove things. We remove patients on a quarterly basis. We've got a little list, who do we want to put on there? Who's a pain? Who do we want to remove? We want to make space for other good people. So when someone looks at the day sheet and says, oh, Mrs. Such and Such is coming in, or Mr. Such and Such. Oh gosh, we don't want to see him today. Oh, that's horrible. And instantly the office changes, right? The dynamics change instantly. And so think about that in your own practice. Who are the people that really you guys don't like seeing? What if you remove them? Your staff, if you said, hey, let's remove the bad people, I guarantee they'd be happy. But really? We get to do that? Do we get to pick ourselves? I'm telling you, everyone I tell this to is usually when they talk to their staff, the staff's like, yes, I can tell you exactly who I want to remove. They're always nice to you, doctor, but they're always rude to me on the phone or rude to me at the front desk. Those are the ones you want to have a talk to. Okay. All right. The next thing is you have to become an authority. That's right. An authority. And that can be in social media, it could be across the websites, internet, Google, YouTube. You need to be an authority. And I know you probably say, well, I don't have time. Make time. Because what I, again, will tell you, when you start to do more of these different secrets I'm telling you, you have time. It creates time so you can work on your business, so you can be more successful in less hours. And you're probably shaking your head going, no. I'm telling you, all of this works. And so if you're an authority, people seek you out, right? You're something different. The same as specialists. Someone seeks out an endodontist, or they get a referral from you for the endodontist because they do one thing and they do it extremely well. Or the orthodontist, right? You're a general dentist. You do everything. And to patients, you look like everyone else. And so then it becomes, well, I don't know. Such and such said that their dentist is nice. Maybe I'll try them. Do they take my insurance? Is that how you want people to judge you, that you're nice and you take their insurance? Or, oh, you have the free cleaning offer? Again, you pick your business model, but you're bringing in a certain type of clientele. What do you want to be the authority of? Doing the least expensive dentistry? Okay, so you're Costco, Walmart, no problem, but you're going to be there a long time, digging a lot of holes. And you say, well, I don't have to market. I'm word of mouth. That's great. If you're at a place that you get that many patients a month that you're happy and content, fabulous. But I think all of us would like to be, more productive with our time, to make more money in less time, and at the same, having more freedom, maybe not to have to work as often. And so if you're hoping for people to talk about you, someday they're going to talk about me and I'm going to get a couple big cases. Well, how often does that happen each year? They may talk about you and you may get a new patient occasionally. Maybe you get 5, 10 a month, right? Is that really changing things? Are those the patients you want? So word of mouth in my mind, unless you've been established for a long time and you're just cruising at this point, if you're cruising, you're not really getting ahead. In my mind, you're going backwards because inflation's going up, right? Fees from insurance are going down. And if you're not doing things different, if you're doing the same thing, you just have to spin the wheel more to be profitable. And so if you start to look at the internet, just Google dentists and Google coupons, look at what is out there for patients. And you start to see that basically the place that everyone is playing looks very similar. Everyone's trying to attract anyone. Does that seem a little desperate? Does that seem a little cheap? Again, is that who you want? I know this may be tough to hear, right? Because this is where everyone plays. So it's very easy. If you just jump out of this pool and get into a different pool, instantly it's a different game. You can instantly become an authority. You are standing out as being different. That is a business mindset. I don't want to have the same business as everyone else. It's going to be harder. I want to be different. So if you're going to do marketing, which I know a lot of offices don't, rely on word of mouth, I would tell you marketing, again, will make or break you. If you want to be extremely successful, I think you need to be really good at marketing. Doesn't mean you have to do everything, but you have to understand it and you have to hire someone that does things well, right? And I will tell you, a lot of the companies in dentistry, you have no way of quantifying what they're doing. And so you may use a marketing company for a little while and decide that, hey, it's not what I'd like. And so I'm going to try a different company, maybe one that my friend used and they liked their results, or I'll try this other one that I saw in a magazine ad or, like a convention, right? And so again, you're pointing at different things and saying, okay, I'll try this one or I'll try that one, not truly knowing what you're going to get. So again, it's thinking in a retrospective going, okay, well, if I was successful a year from now, what would I have to do? And what would my marketing company have to do so I would be there in a year from now? That's more the mentality you want to have. And you want to say, well, how am I going to quantify them and have benchmarks that they get the job done, that I'm seeing the success I want? And if it's not, then we need to pivot that and get them to be there. Okay. So marketing is huge. And as I mentioned, one of the other secrets earlier, you don't need to offer a variety of different services to become successful. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't get to do anything else. Don't take that the wrong way. But if you're, let's say, the authority on a certain procedure, or you're the authority where, hey, this is where dentists go to get their teeth done. Wow, that sounds pretty impressive, right? There are ways in marketing to make yourself stand out. You can still do every procedure you want, but to some extent, do you want to be marketing for inexpensive cleanings, or do you want to be marketing for something more expensive? Something to think about. Again, it depends on your business model, but most people are playing in the same pool. And that makes it very challenging or difficult. And so here's an analogy for you. Maybe you've heard of it before. All right. It's known as the Pickle Jar Theory. I think Stephen Covey talked about it in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But you have a jar. Think of this as your business. You have these big rocks. These big rocks, these are the procedures that you gain the most revenue from, or that they're the most fulfilling for you to do. Okay. Maybe they take more time. And so if you take these and say, okay, well, if I did 6 or 8 of these a month, let's say it's aligners. Think of how profitable you'd be if you started 6 or 8 big aligner cases each month, or 6 or 8 root canals, or 6 to 8, all on 4s, whatever it is. If you take these and you put them inside the jar, what you find is if you add pebbles next, there's space for the pebbles to fit in between those rocks. And from there, you could put sand in between each of the pebbles and the rocks as well. And based on how you do this, you can be quite successful, right? And so looking at it, again, rocks go first. They're the big things. Then you fill in the gravel, followed by the sand. And to some extent, you can put water in there, right? That would fill up even more space. But what if you did this incorrectly? What would happen? Would it all still fit the same? And so this is scheduling. And so you think about, okay, well, I'm just cramming my schedule nonstop with all these patients that need inexpensive procedures. I don't have space for the next 4 weeks to get like a big case in. Well, now you can't fit that rock into the jar. So there's a specific way it has to go in, right? And so scheduling, block scheduling obviously is important. But if you're marketing for those people that fill those blocks, as opposed to hoping or waiting for people to fill those blocks, Totally different concept. Okay. So again, market to who you want. What's the service you want to do more of? Who's the patient that's seeking that type of service? Now you become lethal as far as who you're pulling in and what you get to do, versus saying, I'm a dentist, I do everything, please come to me, but there's another guy next door, or down the street, or upstairs, or down the hall, and you're competing with all these people. And so you're hoping that someone finds you through marketing. You're hoping that maybe the price works for them. You're hoping maybe it's the insurance plan they want. You're hoping that someone talked about you. There's a lot of hoping going on. So it becomes obvious, to achieve more of what you want in business, you got to push yourself out of your comfort zone, out of what you've been doing. And it may be working okay, but I'm assuming most people want more in this world. And so if you want more, you got to be more strategic. You got to have more unique marketing, maybe some automations that get you the type of customers you're looking for. So instead of saying, yeah, I want all these people, I want everybody. Wow. To me, that's a road to burnout. Unless you got a bunch of associates that are doing the work, then it's could be gold. Right? Different business model. So who's your ideal patient? Who's that patient that you think is just amazing? And do they have friends just like them? Think about it. Again, instead of taking everyone, I want these 4 people. I want to know exactly what type of person it is. I want to know where they go, what they drive, all the habits they have, where they frequent. All of these become very important because you can market to these people nowadays. So instead of hoping for something, you can literally say, I want this person, this person, this person, this person. Now make it happen. Okay. So marketing becomes very precise nowadays. But like any business, if you don't have good systems, you're going to have problems because your business is only as strong as, the weakest link. And that's probably one of your systems, or maybe it's one of the employees, right? And so recognizing what those are and seeing it for what it is and saying, oh, that's the weak link. Cool. That's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for something better. I recognize if I don't see it, that's a problem. But when you see it, it becomes, wow, this is an advantage. I finally figured out what I got to do. And so I don't care what it is. We all have these same problems. Might not be every day for you, but we have the same problems. We're running the same business. And so with all these different issues that we have, some of them frustrate us more than others. How long are you going to keep being frustrated with that same problem? Why? Why have you not changed it? Why have you not found an answer? Okay. All of these pains and problems, again, are opportunities. But we go back to this. We're spending our time here. I'm trying to be busier. I'm trying to do more things. I don't have time to work on systems. I don't have time to talk to employees, right? And so do you want to be busy or you want to be productive? And so being productive, you're digging a hole as far as I'm concerned. So am I every day. Digging a hole. Now you may buy technology and say, well, I can dig a hole faster. Okay, great. I've got technology I can fill the hole in faster. I can do it the same day too. Great. Where are you going with that? What's the goal? Is it I'm hoping if I do enough this month, I'm hoping enough show up, we make some money? I don't care how fast you can dig holes. Right? Is that getting you where you want to be? Because my guess is you do enough of these with time, you go, wow, yeah, I'm getting a little frustrated. There's got to be a better way to do this. And again, everyone's got their own problems. So you start looking at systems. What systems are broken? What's the goal for the year and why? Why is that goal, something you want to achieve? Will you achieve it and by when? By the December 31st? How are you going to prove that? How are you going to get there? What do you have to buy or learn? What do you have to do to secure that goal? So there's a lot of mindset in business, right? But we don't spend time on business. We just hope. And so that's where I said every day is a gift. The gift is a problem. The problem that's in front of you, that's what you get to solve. When you solve that, you become more successful. If it never comes back again because you solved it once and for all, then you get to move on to other battles, right? But the most common mistake is what? We don't address it. Or we're focusing on the wrong thing. We're focusing on what? Delivering. Who's the problem? We are. We're the problem. We don't write down our goals. We probably don't even have goals. We don't train our employees. We expect them to do the job well, and then we wonder why things aren't working out well. We wonder why we can't get new employees in, even during a pandemic, because we're not doing something that's specific to what we want. We need to do something different. Well, what is that? And you start looking at goals. They've proven through research that only 3% of society writes down goals. But when you write them down, you're like 40% more likely to have them come true. It's crazy when you start to look at the statistics. So a SMART goal is something that's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic and timely. So how often are you doing these? Again, this may sound like nonsense to you. I'm telling you, this is gold. Ask any business owner that runs a business. They will tell you if they're successful in business that this really allows people to be successful. So Branson's one guy that I like to listen to. There's a lot of people that, you can listen to podcasts, read books, watch online, et cetera, something where you're getting productive by listening to them and you're gaining something and able to implement that so you can be more successful. So again, seeing an opportunity. Every day is an opportunity. Every time you have a problem or frustration, that's an opportunity to learn. It's an abundance mindset. It's like, I can't wait to see what the problem is today. And people are like, what? You want problems? Like, yeah, I want a problem today because I can't wait to see what it brings me as far as the fruit, the success from fixing it. So I'm here now. Where am I going to be in the future by fixing this? Right? So here's another secret. We kind of already hit on it. Fire yourself as an employee. Doesn't mean you don't do the work. You still get to do the work unless you have a bunch of associates, right? Start acting like a business owner. Start thinking like a CEO. Listen to more business concepts. You'd be amazed how your business can change when you start to implement some of these that were never taught to us in dental school. We were misled. From their communication, how do I get people to move forward and do what I'd like them to do? How do I get them to get out of their own way? Because a lot of people go, well, it doesn't hurt. I guess I don't need it done. And you're pointing to the x-ray trying to think logically and talk to them logically. People don't buy based on logic. They buy based on emotion. So are you selling them emotion or are you selling them logic? I can tell you 99.9% of the time, people are selling based on logic because that's us as dentists. You have to train your mind and your skills to no longer do that. Now, here's a piece of technology. I told you we were going to talk about some technology. Here's one of them. Technology continues to change. It's amazing, just crazy what we've done in the last 20 years. You look at the cell phone, oh my God, everybody's got one, right? And you have basically the Swiss Army knife to do everything and anything in your office as far as interacting with a patient, right? Now, if you're still using paper charts, wow. Biggest tip right now, get rid of the paper. Get a practice management software, put it all digital, okay? Everyone is using these nowadays. They're buying coffee, right? You can buy coffee with this. You can buy anything at a store nowadays just by holding your phone up. You can buy a car. Crazy what you can buy. I wouldn't be surprised at some point you'd be able to buy a house. Okay. Mobile payments, something very simple and easy. You don't even need someone at the front desk really anymore, right? It's fast and convenient. People are already utilizing it. It's pretty much kind of common knowledge that you make it easy for someone to pay. It's crazy how fast the growth is for this. And guess what? They're going to pay the day of service the majority of the time. So now you're getting your money up front. You're not spending man hours, right? Printing out things, making phone calls, chasing down your money. Okay. And guess what? The younger generation, they're becoming more and more prevalent in our practices. This is what they like to use. So something as simple as this. When the patient's done, they can pay us right through their phone. They don't have to stop at the front desk and hand me a credit card or write a check out or anything else. They just pay me through their phone. Now, granted, you may have some older patients that aren't going to do this. That's fine. And maybe you say, well, we get the insurance and the patient pays later. No problem. You can send them a text message and say, you know what? I've attached the invoice. I've attached the EOB that the insurance paid. Now you just need to pay me what's left over. Go ahead and put it right here into your cell phone. How fast is that? Now you're not having postage and paper and printing and ink and employees' time. It's literally send a text. And you all have systems probably that are already texting, patient reminders to say, oh yeah, everyone knows of these. Half the time, some of us don't even look at these because we know it's just a robot doing these and just go, whatever. They didn't respond. They got them, but they're not hitting the C to confirm. Well, what if you did something a little different? Again, that was a problem. Here's a solution. Oh, this looks like it's coming from the front desk. She actually wrote me. I better respond, right? This is still a bot. This is still technology saying, hey, I'm reminding you of your appointment. It's just better technology that makes it look like the front desk is talking to you. And so you probably better respond. Okay. That technology continues to get better. Again, think of paper charts and how cumbersome they were. Right. And then you go, well, practice management system changed everything. I didn't lose any charts anymore. I can find things quickly. Someone calls and I can instantly answer the phone and pull up their information within a couple minutes. And if people want to find me, there's digital capabilities nowadays. People can find you very easily, right? And so what if you're busy? What if you can't get the phone call? Nowadays, people are going to go find the next person. They're going to go, oh, well, that person's not there. I'll call the next dental office. You just missed an opportunity. How many opportunities do you miss in your day? How many phone calls do you miss in the day? Are you tracking it? Do you know? Well, if you miss a phone call, what if that patient got a text, or that person, maybe she's a new patient. They were looking for a dentist. They were going to potentially come to you, and now they're not. What if you sent them a text message back? And you can try this if you want. Here's the phone number here. We don't track this or anything. It's just a bogus number. Okay, but if you punch in this number, obviously no one answers. It's fake, but it's going to send you a text message back. And the text message back, it's going to say, hey, this is Susan with Dr. Snyder's office. I'm helping someone else right now, but I'll call you back within 3 to 5 minutes. That new patient's going, oh, awesome. Wow, they responded. Okay, I'll wait. I won't look any further. Or if it's an existing client, they'll be like, hey, no problem. I'll wait. They'll usually write you right back too. They'll say, no problem. Thanks for the tip. Okay. This instantly creates opportunities. Now, I mentioned earlier, accountability. How many calls are missed each day? How many are answered? That's an important thing to know. Okay. Are you tracking it? You should be. How many calls are going out? How many opportunities is your office trying to make happen by calling patients saying, hey, come on in for that procedure? And how well are they talking on the phone? Are they trained to talk properly? Are they maybe doing things that aren't getting people to convert and come in? That becomes critical to your success. Phone skills. So if you're not listening to those, or your office manager isn't listening to those, if your employees don't know they're going to be held accountable because you can listen to them, then they're not playing at their A game, right? People can always play at a higher level, especially when they know people are listening, especially when they've had proper training. And so what I'm talking about with some of these technologies is from Weave. They're obviously one of our sponsors tonight. And so I've been using this. I was probably one of the first 40 or 50 people ever to implement this. I've gone through every hurdle they've ever had. I can tell you hands down, I have never seen anything as good as this. Where I used to have 4 different technologies that Weave now has all in one place. It's made life easier for the whole office because it's one technology in front of us, but also it's less expensive. So when someone calls in, instantly I can put anyone from anywhere on the planet in front of my computer, and it tells them what to do for each patient that calls in. It's crazy. It's literally a cookbook. But in addition, all the automation it does frees up my staff. So my staff doesn't have to do as much. Now they have more time to speak with patients and get patients to move forward, or get patients financing, or get patients to pay, right? So it's made opportunities for us to be more efficient, to be more productive. And all of the same technology for Weave that sits on my practice management software on my computer that ties into a phone at the office, which is a voice over IP telephone. All of this stuff that goes on in the office right there on that computer to make life easy is also in my cell phone. And so I can listen to every phone call. I can look at every text message. I can look at my schedule. I can send people a message saying to pay me. I can send out a fax. I can look at analytics. I can look at reviews, everything from my phone. Talk about technology creating freedom and opportunity, but also to have potentially less employees, or to allow employees to be more efficient and effective to make you more money, right? So technology is pretty amazing. And I mentioned the text to pay. That's what we were talking about earlier. During the pandemic, they added another component. They called it M-Consent, right? It's a company that they implemented into Weave that now all of my forms are automated. Where I used to be able to send them via an email, now it goes out via text or email, and all of this information comes back and goes right into my computer system. So it's made life easy. If I haven't gotten them within 24 hours prior to the patient's appointment, well, we know to contact them so that it's done before they get to the office. So we're not having to waste time, right? So we're being way more effective and efficient. We're not running behind. And so we're all the different problems we have typically in the dental office, we can eliminate many of them when we see the problem and start to implement technology. Hence, I mentioned this particular technology. Same thing with reviews. You want your Google reviews, you want the reviews on Facebook, wherever you want to put them. They do that as well, the same as many other softwares. But again, all of this technology and more is in one place, which is why we bring it up. Another big secret is to have one technology that makes you more successful. Here's another thing. If you're not doing email campaigns, you might want to consider it. Okay. Everything you send out via email has to have an offer. Okay. Here's one. Here's an example. We sent this one out, I think it was August. Yeah, it was August. We sent out a picture of a person getting their smile imaged, just showing, hey, this is a possibility. If you ever thought about wanting a better smile, I can tell you they've done research. 50% of your patients want a better smile. It's a fact. They've done research on it. 3 out of 5 are willing to give you money. So if you got 1,000 patients, 500 of them would like to change something about their smile. 300 out of 500 are willing to pay for it right away. Crazy numbers. So if you send something like this out to all your patients, it's free. You're paying for Weave, create an email and send it out to all your patients. But it has to have an offer. What is the offer? Well, it's a complimentary example of what your smile could look like. Okay. Normally it costs $140. So there's a call to action. It's normally $140. You're getting it free. Oh, I better go get one while it lasts. Oh, in addition, there's only 2 appointments this month for the month of September that are still available. So if you want something, you better get it done quickly, right? So this is business. This is opportunities to move forward, okay? There's a limit on this. And so it compels people to move. So again, the cell phone's amazing what it has as far as the technology capabilities that ties into your business, that you're constantly in contact with your patients. But if you're not putting out marketing to them, you're not getting them to move forward. And so where I'm talking about, communicating, some of you probably call your patients and check on them after the day is done. What if every new patient got a phone call from you, either before or after or both? And every patient that came in and got, anesthetic, to contact every one of them. Huge practice builder. But now you can also just send them a text. You don't even have to get on the phone with them, right? And all that's in the palm of your hand. You can see everyone from the day. You can click on it, instantly get their phone number, and either text or email or call them. So again, fast and easy. These 3 icons in the middle, again, call, text, or email. Very quick. So it's simplified things for you. Just want to see how you're doing. You can even cut and paste. You could have this on your phone, just copy and paste the same thing to everyone, right? So you can imagine how easy things can become when you implement technology, making life faster and easier for you, more efficiency, right? So all the things that I've listed here and more is one of the things why I would tell you, you should be looking at something like Weave so that your employees can do more for you without having to be, dealing with the tedious tasks that typical offices have. So when you start thinking about, how hard do I work? Well, maybe you could work more efficiently or in a different manner so you don't have to work as hard, and your employees might be able to not work as hard. So again, looking at all your systems and your team, where can you change things in there? Because when you start to do this, you realize you can be more successful, right? And as I mentioned, number one stressor for all of us is dealing with the staff, unfortunately. And this is reported by the ADA. And they showed why, is that we as dentists, we don't train. And I recognized this many years ago, right? Because you deal with it enough times and you go, oh, an epiphany, I got to change some things. And so here's another technology I'll share with you. We're almost done here. And so the ability to train your staff 24/7. There's technology out there, All-Star Dental Academy. If you haven't seen them, take a look at them, okay? This is just one of their things I took a screenshot of. Training every one of my employees to be more successful on the phone. They'd go over things I could never even think of, let alone spend the time. I mean, there are hours worth of information and videos in here that your staff can watch, right? And from there, you can quantify it. How well are they doing? Are they passing the quizzes and exams? Are they not paying attention? And then you can talk about it maybe in your morning huddles or weekly meetings. What about scheduling? Let's talk about scheduling and how we can make this more efficient. Again, all of this content is there. I can't train people on this. I know my office manager can't train on this. I don't think anyone could train this well on all these topics. But if it's a systematic thing like dental school, your staff can go through this, whether it's during downtime, whether it's during a lunch break that you're paying them, whether you pay them after hours. Again, you can't mandate it, but if they wanted to work after hours and say, hey, I'll let you train and get some CEs and I'll pay you for it. Well, maybe they do it on, evenings or weekends. And so again, this is All-Star Dental Academy. They've got a ton of stuff in there. Highly recommend it. Every one of my employees goes through it. Okay. And so again, if you call into All-Star Dental Academy, you can Google them, what have you, or write me if you want. But nonetheless, Heather's the owner's wife. She's usually the one you talk to. She's fabulous. So these 2 tools make life easy for me. Okay. So right there, you have huge success. Instantly makes you a ton of money. Okay. But the secrets I'm talking about on top of that, they're magic. Magic, I'm telling you. Balance your time between providing dental services and sales. meaning you need to build into your time to work on the business and time to work on how you're going to get these sales. Okay. You may say sales is a bad word. I'm saying no, you're selling yourself every day, from the way you show up, clean clothing and your hair put together right, maybe cologne or perfume. That's selling yourself. You're coming in a certain way to sell. Okay. But for the same token, to be successful, you got to step out of your comfort zone. You got to be different. You got to think different. You got to act different. Let's face it, in dental school, they pushed you. It was uncomfortable, but look how far you went in 4 years or 3 years, depending on what school you went to. You did a lot, right? For me, when I opened my office, man, I had no money. I was sleeping on the floor in my office, literally for 2 years on the floor a couple nights a week. The rest of the time I was in the couches and friends' houses or the back of my Jeep. Sometimes you got to put yourself in uncomfortable places, but most of us want to be comfortable. What you find is when you get yourself out of your comfort zone, you start to push into different places. It's definitely concerning to go to these places. We're afraid and we create lies and stories, but it's amazing how much you start to learn and grow. And you start to recognize that the problem was us, that we were our limitations. Okay. Most of the time, what we fear, we find wasn't real to begin with. It's amazing how often that stands true. So again, push yourself. How are you going to push yourself? Well, just get started. Do something. You've got to start to be good or great, right? Hoping and wishing isn't going to get you there. But if you start to move, yeah, you may stumble a little bit, but eventually you learn, right? And the end result is you have more success and freedom. And that's, I think, what we all want. We all want to be more successful and have more financial freedom and more free time to do what we want in this world. And I can tell you, everything I just told you, if you do these things, you can have that. But it changes you more than that. It changes your mind. It literally transforms you as a person. You start to look at things differently. You start to think at things differently. You push yourself into places you never would have gone before. Because once you do one thing and you're successful, it sets your mind up to say, I can do that again. And I'm going to do it in this problem this time, though. It's totally different, but I know I can fix it. Or I can find someone to fix it. Or I can learn or read something to help me fix it. But we don't push ourselves enough. But there's 3 keys to success. It's you. It starts with you. And if you can train yourself, from there, you can then manage employees better. You can get them technology. You can train them. You can change systems. But they're going to follow your mindset and your principles. It's crazy how that your interaction with them changes things. And from there, you and your employees then interact with patients differently. And patients can see this. They say, what are you guys doing different? And I've had this happen time and time again. So you, your employees, and your patients, those are the 3 things you need to focus on. These components will allow you to become more successful. In my mind, you got to go to war every day. You got to fight battles, right? But you have to figure out how to win those. How can you become more successful and defeat those every day? And how can you do something where you can't go back to your comfort zone? Because let's face it, we all try something. We go, yeah, I tried it for a day or 2 or a week, and yeah, it didn't really work for me. Yeah, how hard did you really push? Because the only time you fail is when you give up. And so how often do we give up in life? We go, I'm comfortable doing what I've been doing, right? We've all been there. So in my mind, you burn the boats. I can't go back to what it was. I have to move forward, right? There's no way around it. That's my mindset. Mindset is everything. So start thinking about your goals. Without a plan, it's just a wish. And a dream written down without a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams become reality. But yet, how often do you spend time on this? And when the day's over, you go home and go, thank God the day's over, right? Go watch TV, play on social media, go on YouTube, whatever it is. How much time you truly put into the business as far as working on goals each day, each week, each month? In my mind, this is the biggest thing I see when I'm talking to dentists. So you need some type of coach to help you. Someone to push you, the same as you had in dental school. The teacher pushed you, the faculty pushed you. They push you to a different place. And I know it's frustrating at times because I was there too. But unless you have someone pushing you, you'll never get to a higher place. We typically won't push ourselves because we like to be comfortable. So in saying this, you really have 2 choices. You can listen to what I said and think hard on it. And if you truly implement and change things and implement some of these secrets I'm talking about, you'd be amazed at what you can do in as little as 90 days. Or you can just keep doing what you've been doing and hope and wish things will get better. But every one of these secrets I'm telling you, which sounds so minimal, I'm sure to many people, hold so much gold behind them. So the investment in you, the investment in your future, it's huge. You got to spend a little money to make a little money, right? Or better yet, make a lot of money. Be an authority, be different. Every week you've got a war to fight. How do you fight that war? Or you just sit there and let it go by, right? That's not winning. That's just getting by and potentially going backwards. And so every day you got to put in the work. Every day to be successful. And there's ways to do this. And part of it starts with you and your mind and seeing problems and fixing the problems once and for all. You can do anything you want. Okay. So with that being said, I didn't see many questions pop up, but I tend to go pretty good sometimes. So I got time to answer questions. If you want to ask me anything, hey, Max, if you want to ask me anything, I've got my email up here for you. You can write me there anytime too, but also we got time here for Q&A. So feel free to ask questions if you have them, but I didn't see any come up really during the discussion. So either you're scratching your head or you're not sure what to ask at this point, but I said, ask anything.
We got a few questions actually coming in for you, Dr. Snyder. Yeah, not a problem whatsoever. So going forward, how do you keep a patient's info secure if you're using or texting and accessing info from your cell phone? Probably regarding
great question.
Anything going on.
So the Weave software on your phone, you are on your personal phone, but you're in a software, and that software obviously is HIPAA compliant, and you know what the state and national regulatory for phones or whatever they're called. But yeah, it's all compliant. Their company couldn't have this if they weren't compliant, obviously. So it's already been taken care of. So yeah, you have the ability to literally call from your phone, but when you're calling from your phone, you're calling through an app. So your personal cell phone doesn't come up on their end. They're seeing the number that's tied to your Weave account. So they can't write you personally or call you personally. They're writing and calling you through software, okay? And so it becomes very unique that you can handle all of this through your cell phone.
Okay, interesting. Another question that we have coming in from the chat. What was the turning point in your life, whether it be as a business owner or simply as a person? What created this uplifting morale, spirit, and energy that has affected your lifestyle?
You know, mentors, because none of us start this way. Someone has to show us, right? And if you're constantly searching and seeking for a different mindset and to try and get to a better place without doing the same thing as everyone else, that's the first thing is you recognize, and mentors will tell you, like, if you're doing the same as everyone else, expect to be where everyone else is. And so you go, okay, well, how do I change that? That becomes a big question. So it's like, it's all in your mindset. You have to start looking at things differently and approaching things differently and starting to ask more questions, and asking questions maybe of people that have already gone through all the problems, or asking people that are maybe seeing it from a different perspective that maybe aren't even in dentistry, right? And so now you're going, okay, well, I'm talking to business gurus outside elsewhere that are crushing it. And I go, well, how are you doing all your marketing to sell that widget? And how can I take that and maybe put it in dentistry? Because I don't see any dentists doing this. And that's where you start to grow and see things. But again, we're focused on doing dentistry and more of it, and just sitting there doing the procedures. We miss out on so much. And that's what I'm saying. These are gold as far as marketing and attracting people and converting them.
I agree. Another question that we have coming in. What is your advice regarding social media platforms and using them as marketing tools?
Oh, wow. Okay, we could talk about this all day and then some. I think they're phenomenal, but I think a lot of people use them incorrectly. And a lot of people worry about how many followers they have. Mm-hmm. Don't buy followers. It's a waste of time and money. Put out content that you don't see anyone else doing, and put out content that is valuable to people. Whatever that is, there's a lot we can talk about that. But so social media is huge and it's free, right? It's just a little bit of your time. So I definitely recommend doing it, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or all of them. But you have to do it correctly. But also there's ways to tie in technology where it automates things and it gets, it sends information back to them. Or if next time they're on the internet looking for something, you pop up. There's ways that we've all seen that happen. When you look at something on Amazon, next time you're on the internet, something pops up that you're looking at.
Yeah.
I don't see dentists doing that, but you can. We do.
That's a great point. All right, another question that we had coming in as well too. What are areas of skill that you would recommend that is most important to train your staff on?
Honestly, the basic systems of the office, I feel a lot of times are missed out on. And that's where I think that all-star is just the fundamentals, because a lot of times we hire an existing employee that's been in dentistry and they come in with bad baggage a lot of times, or maybe it's just things that are done differently than what we would like. But how much time do we spend telling them what we want? Half an hour, and then we expect them to excel, versus go take like 40 hours of training through All-Star. And I guarantee you're going to be a rock star, right? It's totally different. And me included, I don't have time to train someone. I finally recognized that was part of the problem. I said, well, who can train them? I found the All-Stars and let them get trained. And then it's like, wow, my whole team just, excelled. So I would say the basic systems, start there first. And then once they have all that free time from doing that well, then go to the next thing.
Okay. Another question that we had coming in as well too. How often do you recommend to send marketing emails to your patients?
That's a good one. Yeah, because you don't want to bombard them, right? Because they're going to say like, opt out, tired of getting this stuff. So you got to do it, in a clever way. Let's say you might put it out such that the first paragraph is something very helpful to everyone, and anyone that opens is like, oh, that's so great. That's good information to have. And then the next paragraph has an offer. Okay. So it's like, well, you got something valuable, versus if you just sent something that was just an offer, it's like, yeah, I don't want this stuff. Right. But if it's something valuable and then there's something tagged on at the end, then you can do it more regularly. I would say once a month is not a problem. Again, based on how you word it.
Okay. One of the last questions that we have coming in so far, and also if you guys have any more questions, we're still at a good time right now, so please feel free to ask. But do you use paid social media ads, Google paid ads, Facebook, things of that nature to support your marketing efforts?
Yes, I have. I don't do it all the time. So we're doing certain ads that are display ads. So they're not pay-per-clicks, but it's retargeting. So as I mentioned earlier, if someone looks at something on my webpage, like if I've driven them there and they didn't do something or move forward, well, then it follows them around as a cookie or a pixel for the next 90 days. That anywhere they go, there's display ads and I potentially pop up again. They just keep seeing me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's that, as well as email campaigns. If they take something from me, if I have an ebook for something of value to them that they put in their email and they get a free ebook back, now I have their email and I'm going to solicit to them over the next few weeks because I have their information, and that's all automated, just a drip system going back. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm hunting for who I want, as opposed to just hoping someone comes and maybe calls me. Right.
Yeah, that's a wonderful strategy. Absolutely.
And there's a lot more to that. There's something known as geofencing also, where let's say you got a Mercedes dealership or Nordstrom's close by. You say, okay, I want to put this hypothetical net around that, a geofence, that anyone in that area, potentially one of my ads pops up for them just because of where they are. And so I can, again, go after certain people where they work, where they live, where they, like frequent, whatever that is. And I can pick certain demographic people.
Cool. That's really, really good strategy. Absolutely. Another question that we have coming in as well too, regarding your pickle jar theory, how would you find a way, because for the dental business with the pickle jar strategy, where you have your rocks to the pebbles to the sand, and then you see if you can add some water in as well too. How do you think, where did that translate from initially for you to apply that to your dental business?
I couldn't tell you how many years ago it was, but what I found in working for other people, and I was guilty of this in the beginning, is someone wants to make an appointment, you just find what works for them and you put them in. You're like, hey, when do you want to come in? Right? Like, I need a patient, and then you start to realize, well, hey, I'm putting the sand in and I don't have a place for the big patients. And so once I changed that and I said, okay, I'm leaving a big space open for the big cases each week. And anytime I had someone, it was like instantly, great, I've got time this coming Thursday, drop them in there, done, big production. But we'd also try to build it into the beginning of the month. So not only in each week, but towards the beginning of the month. So you have places to put cases, versus if you go, hey, I'm so busy, I'm backed out 6 weeks, I don't have a spot for you, but I know you want to do like full mouth rehabilitation or aligners or, like something big that could have made you a lot of money. If you're not building that in, you're missing out on opportunities. You're putting the money further out. I'd rather put out the cleanings and simple things further out. So I'm building in and saving that spot for these particular clients that I'm marketing for.